everybody, my name is Nozibele Kamgananayaba. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you are new to this channel, please make sure that you subscribe and join the rest of the family. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. As this is the first video for 2023, let me say Happy New Year, okay? Happy 2023. Guys, this year is gonna be very nice. This year it's gonna be very nice. Guys, there's a lot coming. Okay? The only thing I'm going to say is please stick to this channel. Okay? But anyway, for today, we are going to be doing a review on episode 8 and 9 of my TV show called Yes, I Have HIV. If you are new to this channel, please know that I host a TV show every Sundays at 10 p.m. on Honey TV, DSTV channel 173. This is where I help people disclose their HIV statuses to their loved ones. Okay? So this week, yay, I met very interesting characters. Okay, let me start with episode 8. This is where I meet Bongo. Guys, Bongo is my favorite person on this entire world. Favorite, okay? I actually need to do a follow-up with the Bongo because he's my spirit animal, that one. So Bongo writes to the show that he wants to disclose, his HIV status to his friend. Okay, no problem. Bongo comes to the show. So the first thing I ask is about him, where he comes from, when was he diagnosed with HIV, how did he come to terms with his HIV diagnosis, and so forth. So he says he got sick in 2006. At first they thought that he had TB, but upon doing other tests, they found out that he was HIV positive. So Bongo, how did you feel when the nurse or the doctor confirmed that you were HIV positive? It seems Bongo's father also passed away from an HIV-related disease, and so he was very scared that most probably he's also going to die. But upon educating himself, getting treatment, he started getting better, and I guess he wanted to live longer, right? Okay, Bongo, do you know when you got infected? What happened? Bongo was very honest that he was a ladies' man. Yes, he used to love the skats. But then I got confused because he said that, and then he said, but he knows exactly when he got infected. I don't remember asking him whether or not he used to test regularly, right? But from how he was talking and his past, it doesn't seem like he was someone that used to test regularly. But he says he suspects that he got infected when he met a white person. Now, I don't want to lie, guys. There were many instances where a lot of things were lost in translation between, Bongo and I. He used a lot of Kasi lingo. There were instances where we needed to do retakes because I just could not follow the story. One of the incidents is when he was talking about this white person that he met. And then Atibana, ngumntu ofana no Somizi. It's someone who is like Somizi. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Right? And the producer had to, explain that it's a gay man. I was like, oh, okay. It totally went over my head, right? And then he says he met this white gay man, I think from overseas. And Bongo, was it the first time that you slept with another man? And he says it was the first time and was only doing it for financial gain. Okay, did you use protection? At first they used protection, but then as time went by, Umlungu, the white person, said he doesn't like the protection anymore. He wants to go skin to skin. He wants to go raw. So they had an agreement to go raw, and he thinks that's how we got infected. Okay, so what happened next? Then, the relationship continued, I think, for about a year or so until he got arrested. And I was like, hey, how did you get arrested? Why were you arrested? He says he got caught, selling weed. And he spent about 2 years in jail. Okay, got out. By then, the white person had long gone, and the relationship had ended. Okay, so do you feel like he had come to terms with your HIV diagnosis? He says he had, because he had started taking treatment. Okay, so I hear, Bongo, you also have 2 children. So the children, were they before or after, the white man? No, they were after. Okay, tell me all about that story. How did you meet the children's mother? Did you disclose your HIV status to her? How did you protect yourself, the mother, and making sure that, because now you had 2 kids, how did you make sure that you protect the kids? Ubongo did not disclose his HIV status to the mother of his kids. Ne? So what happened was, in one of his appointments, the doctor convinced him to come with the wife. He said wife, but I wasn't sure whether he was married. But again, yeah, I think he was married, because he started talking also about something towards a divorce after all of this. So the doctor convinced him to come with the wife to break the news that they were HIV positive. Ne? So when the wife gets told that they're both HIV positive, Ubongo acts like it's like the first time he's hearing this. So the wife is definitely under the impression that it's Bongo that infected her, not the other way around. Ubongo, though, yes, he agrees that it's probably him, because Utile is totally scared. But he doesn't say, but actually, I've known that I'm HIV positive for quite some time, but I did not tell you. So, Bongo, why didn't you tell her that you had known all this time? Uti, no, he was scared, he was afraid, so he went along with the story. Yamana, that, it was the first time that he found out about his HIV status. But eventually, Utike, they broke up, they got divorced, but he's adamant that the HIV status, it was not an issue. The issue was when he started not making money, and the relationship ended in that regard. What I did not ask him is, what did they know about the HIV status before they got kids, or was it after? And in making sure that the kids, obviously were safe, were there measures that were put into place? I did not ask that. I think, I missed asking that. So anyway, Bongo then, okay, so why are you here? Why do you want to disclose to your friend? So it seems like he had disclosed to one friend. So I think there were 3 friends, and he had disclosed to one, and that one passed away a couple of years ago. So he did not have anyone now where, that could support him if they're trying to get hold of him at the clinic, or something happens to him, a next of kin, because it appears Ubongo, stays, on the streets, and also stays, sometimes at a shelter, Rastafarian shelter, he mentioned that, but mostly he stays on the streets. So he wanted someone, if the clinic can't get hold of him, or a next of kin if anything happens to him. That's why he now wanted Themba to come to the show, where he can disclose his HIV status. Now, I thought Bongo was a character. When Themba arrived, I said, we raised the bar. Okay, so Themba walks in, Bongo is like, yes, I brought you to the show because I wanted to tell you something, and I've asked the assistance of Unozi. So I come in, okay, sit down. Yes, Bongo, Themba, Bongo is the one that asked for my help in something that he wants to tell you, and now I'll hand over to him. Ubongo then abalise ke ba, hey, my friend Themba, I came to tell you ukuthi ngiyagula and nginamagama amathathu. I am sick. I have 3 names. That's a direct translation, guys. Amagama amathathu is what was used back in the day, and I guess now as well, to reference the HIV. Because what? HIV, right? It's three letters. What is very interesting is that we're still using that terminology, because that terminology was mainly used as a sign of discriminating against people living with HIV. And so I thought that was very interesting that it did not even come from Themba, the friend, it came from Bongo himself. And also the fact that he referenced himself as being sick, right? And this is something that actually I saw a lot when a lot of our characters came to the show, either the loved one or them themselves talking about being sick. And I would sometimes want to jump in and say, you are not sick. And sometimes I actually did jump in and say, you shouldn't be worried. The fact that he's disclosing their HIV status to you, they're not gonna die tomorrow. They've been living with this diagnosis for quite a number of years, and they're not sick. They just happen to live with the disease, and that is manageable, and that is not a life sentence. So Uthemba at first did not take the news well. He was very worried, and also repeating what his Bongo was saying about he's worried that his friend is sick, and Ubani, who did this to him, and he's worried that Bongo has children, what's going to happen to his children. So that's when I started to step in to say, okay, Themba, I appreciate, you being concerned about your friend. I can see why Ubongo wanted you here. You honestly look like a good friend. But I just want to ease your fears that Ubongo has been living with HIV for a number of years, more than a decade. And he's been able to take care of himself up until now. And the reason why, once again, he's called you to the show is for that extra support that he needs in continuing to live longer, positively and healthy with HIV. And if you do not believe that, I'm also living with HIV, and it's almost 10 years. And listen, that's when that guy almost fainted on that chair, okay? He asked for water and gulped that water in less than 5 seconds. Like, he was so shocked. And he thought for a long time that I was laughing. So this did not come through on the episode. But for a long time, that guy thought I was lying. He's like, no, ngidlala ngami la. Ngidlala ngami. Wena, umuhle kanje. Ube ne-HIV? Angeke, ngidlala ngami la. Ngizothini manje la? And I was like, yes, I have HIV. I take a pill each and every day. I am married to an HIV negative partner, to an HIV negative husband, and I'm still going to live longer. I'm still going to have children, and there's nothing wrong with me. So, and the HIV that I have is no different from the HIV that Bongo has. Nothing is going to happen to Bongo that has not happened to me. So you do not have to worry about, your friend passing away. But I thought it was so interesting that he just did not believe that I was HIV positive because of how I looked. And that is something that is so common. It is very, very much common. It is said on my statuses on social media, whenever I talk about HIV. I was trending on Twitter on World AIDS Day when I shared, a commemorating World AIDS Day and talking about there's no face towards HIV. Lavi, I was trending on World AIDS Day on Twitter, sweetie. Like, my photo was trending and people could not believe that I was HIV positive. I got really interesting comments, especially from guys. That they won't mind, being with me. They will take a chance. They don't care whether I'm HIV positive or not. Now, usually, when it comes to social media, guys, when things like that happen, anyone who's followed me, I don't entertain him. I don't entertain him. But I'm hoping other people came to see something that I've been talking about for quite some time. And people think that the HIV topic is dead and we should not talk about it anymore because it's no longer relevant. But such things happen to people like us to make you understand that the HIV conversation is still relevant in 2023. Because of those people that think people like us will never get to HIV. So I thought really Bongo's friend, Themba, it was quite interesting that he reacted that way when I started disclosing. But also at the same time, I think I helped him in making sure that, once again, his fears, I ease his fears in thinking that his friend is going to pass away. But by the end of it, no, man, they were fine. Yes, they were fine. And then he started asking Bongo if about his sex life. I'm like, okay, so we're going there. But Upo did not answer that. I liked Bongo because of that. He did not answer that. At the end of the day, I'm just happy that Bongo found support in disclosing to his friend, and we were there, to support him. So that was episode 8. Then episode 9, oh, guys, episode 9 broke my heart. Okay, so episode 9, we meet Surprise. Surprise writes to the show. He is a 22, 23-year-old. Writes to the show. He also wants to disclose to his friend. Surprise, when were you diagnosed with HIV? He was diagnosed with HIV right after matric. So leading up to matric, there were a lot of people that went to his school that offered, various career options for them. Ne? And one of the options that he had been adamant that he wants to take, or the path that he wants to follow, is to join the South African National Defence Force. Ne? So then he matriculates and he applies to the South African National Defence Force. I have done this video before, and once again, I got a lot of mixed reaction towards my message, in that video. This was a while back when I first started my YouTube channel. I started investigating some careers that are discriminating against people living with HIV. And the South African National Defence Force has been those, careers where they do not previously in inverted commas, do not accept people that are living with HIV. Until a friend of mine, who's now a friend of mine, Andisiwa Dwenga, took her case to the High Court, and she won, where it was found that from the president to the minister and to the South African National Defence Force, they had discriminated against people with HIV, and they were asked to revise their policies and their rules to make sure that they are inclusive, because obviously people living with HIV, there's nothing that is limiting to them. However, even guys, in the last couple of years, there have been people that have been prevented from entering the South African National Defence Force because of their HIV status. It doesn't matter what you tell me, what is on paper, the fact that the rules are saying, the policies are saying, but I can tell you, I have read Ilantuka case studies. I have also been privy to information from people directly that have been prevented from entering the South African National Defence Force. Surprise, it's only a couple of years ago. Surprise is 22. He matriculated about 4 or 5 years back. And when he received, so as part of, once again, his application, he needs to go for blood tests and all of that. He was shocked to learn that he was HIV positive. And because of that, he was not accepted into the South African National Defence Force. So not only is, your career prospects limited, or basically limited, also now you have to deal with an HIV diagnosis at a very young age. So when I ask him, does he know when he got infected? Naye uthi bani bengumuntu ebezithandela isketi. A lot of time he used to warn him about, being careful, making sure that he does not get any diseases, because it seems like umama could see that umfana busy. Yamona esikolweni, in the community, wherever he goes, busy. So local, there are girls around, right? So what happened after that? How did you take the news? Guys, the guy is going through a lot. And I got the sense, and even from people that I was interacting with on social media, I got the sense that he has not come to terms with this diagnosis, even today. So Uti, the person that he has disclosed to after his diagnosis, ngumamake. So he disclosed to his mom that he was HIV positive, but there was no conversation about, how he was feeling and what kind of support does he need, what happens next, nothing up until today. It got me thinking that our parents, although they've gone through their own traumatic experiences, but I don't want to lie, they do have a tough time dealing with our traumatic experiences. They do not know how to handle them. It's even like similar to the relationship that I have with Umam. Umama cannot handle me when I am emotional. I promise you, I can call her now crying about something. She does not know. She'll start talking about, have you eaten? Did you sleep well? I'm like, that's not the point of this conversation. The point of this conversation is the fact that I am not well, okay? So it really pains me that he had not had the support that he needed from his immediate family, and basically he's had to process the news on his own. And that must have been difficult. That is still very much difficult. He has not also dated, according to him, because I started asking him about his dating life. About infecting another person. And that's when I also started to use my own story that I'm HIV positive. I was able to date. I'm married now to an HIV negative person. There are measures in place that you can take. If you are on treatment, your viral load is going to get suppressed, decreasing the chances of you getting infecting another person. The other person that may be HIV negative can be on PrEP, pre-exposure prophylaxis, that protects them from getting infected with HIV. So there are measures in place for you to have a healthy relationship. I guess what is very hard will be the disclosure part, to your partner. And that comes with a lot of practice, with a lot of experience. So I understand in that regard. So he came to the show to disclose his HIV status to his friend. And the friend comes in, guys, nice son. It came across on the episode a little bit, but you had to be there, to understand what was going on. So friend comes through. I mean, from how Surprise was talking about his friend, once again, he's bringing his friend because he wants support, the support that he doesn't have at home, and they are close. He kept on repeating it, but Bloma Konye, ekasi, they make music together, they share everything, obviously except the HIV diagnosis, but basically they are good friends. So friend comes through. Surprise discloses his HIV status to the friend. Hi son, wabanda umdu. He was very cold. Guys, he was very cold. I don't know how many times he kept on asking, so what do you want me to do with the information? Who? I was so hurt. He kept on asking that guy, okay, so I don't understand. I'm confused. What do you want me to do with this information? I guess at first I could understand, but he was probably shocked, that his friend is HIV positive. Hey, but guys, that was not okay. And then with the help of the the in-house therapist and myself as well, and trying to really understand how he was feeling. Where is this coming from? Are you shocked about the news? Are there any fears or concerns that you had? Not at any one point was a conversation about, concerns about his friend or surprise. Not at any point did he show any concern about, are you well? Are you handling all of this well? Because obviously I'm all used to previously, literally on the same day, the previous, episode was Temba and Ubongo. Right? So I'm used to the type of responses that I would get. The friend is concerned. How could you not trust me enough? I would have always been there for you. To someone asking, Ufuna ngenzeni with this information? Okay. And then he started saying, because sibloma sonke, and what if something happened when he's with me? Hey, okay. Then I'm like, is he concerned he's going to get infected? I don't know. But we started talking and really unpacking some of the conversation. But even then, I don't want to lie. I don't get a feel that we broke down the wall that was from Surprise's friend. He was very closed off. Very, very closed off. But we tried our best. We may understand why you may feel betrayed that he did not tell you this information way beforehand. But once again, please understand that it is not about you. It is not that you did anything wrong. Or surprise, it's literally it's only one person that knows about his HIV status. So please understand where he's coming from. The fact, actually, I would feel more honored that my friend would want to share such big news with me, because it lets me in more into his world and his life. That's just who I am. But no. there's just a lot of work that needed to be done, and that's another person that I would love to have a follow-up with, to understand possibly how their life has changed, as their friendship remained the same. Yeah, just generally, if anything has changed, I think that I would love to have a follow-up with Usa Price and his friend regarding that. But yeah, we're going to continue with the episodes. This week on Sunday we have our 10th episode, where we meet a young man who considers himself as gay, and he was infected a couple of years ago with HIV. He has come to the show to disclose his HIV status to his mom. They have a complex relationship because they did not grow up with his mom. The mom moved from the Eastern Cape, where they used to reside, and to go and work in Cape Town. So there has been a feeling of abandonment from the son. And so we have conversations regarding that, and how the mom feels about the disclosure of the status and so forth. So please make sure you tune in, and I love engaging with you. Please let me know how you viewed Bongo's story, and how Themba reacted, and also with regards to Surprise's story, and how his friend reacted to his disclosure and his diagnosis. But yeah, guys, that is it when it comes to episode 8 and 9. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, bye.